even bother. I put that on my partner, I put that on my family. Oakland City represent, address me as your majesty. Yeah, you can kiss a ring, but you can never touch the crown. I smoke a million Swisher blunts and I ain't never coming down. Bitch, you ain't no Barbie, I see you work at Arby's. Never do supersize, hurry up, I'm starving. Gnarly, radical, on the block I'm magical. See me at your college campus, baggy full of Adderalls. Call me if you need a fix, call me if you need a boost. See them other chicken heads, they don't ever leave the coop. I'm in the coupe cruising, I got the stolen plates, serving all the fiends over there by the Golden Gate. Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi, Fendi, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Gucci, Gucci, Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Fendi, Fendi, Prada, Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Fendi, Fendi, Prada. Them basic bitches wear that shit, so I don't even bother. Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Fendi, Fendi, Prada. Them basic bitches wear that shit, so I don't even bother. I put that on my partner, I put that on my family. Oakland City represent, address me as your majesty. Yeah, you can kiss a ring, but you can never touch the crown. I smoke a million Swisher blunts and I ain't never coming down.
Do you agree that there's no such thing as racism, sexism, homophobism, Islamophobism, deadbeat dadism, white supremacism, and all the other isms? Destiny, that's a woman's name. You were raised by your daddy and mama. That makes you half man and half woman. You are a beta. You're not a real man, beta. I just have one question for you, beta. There's just one thing I want to know. Destiny, do you love all people? Do you really love the black destiny? Do you love black people? Why can't you just answer the question, Destiny? Do you love all people?
System, the company store, the paradigm of absolute control. And that's why we're just out here doing simple things, pointing out that we're meant to be in nature and be natural. And this is where we find the source that God made to transcend the New World Order. And that's why they want to try to keep us out of it.
I'm angry. I've had enough of these people. They're a bunch of Christian murderers, scum. They're on giant death factories, keeping babies alive and selling their body parts. What more do you need to know about these people? I go out and face these scum. They literally crawl out from under rocks. They have green looking skin and they run around screaming, we love Satan, we wanna eat babies. I have them on video. Hillary's in the creepy, weird, sick stuff, man. She sleeps in the same room with that creepy, weird woman whose mother wears a hood over her head. What the hell? That woman number one is ugly. Imagine how bad she smells, man. I'm told her and Obama just stink. Obama and Hillary both smell like sulfur. Literal vampire pot that I got gets close to that evil and I feel it go. We're such self-centered crap, we don't even notice hell itself rising up against us. Millions of pointed people of the very worst type, and I'm so pissed. We're gonna stab your daughter at the mall. We're gonna stab your wife, your son. We're gonna stab you with a butcher knife, and then the police chief is gonna say, we love our Somalis, we love our Muslims. Oh, they're so good, oh, they're so sweet.
I was watching Fox News as I worked out this morning.
Whores in this house. There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house. I said certified freak. 7 days a week. Wet ass P-word. Make that pull-out game weak. Yeah, you effin' with some wet ass P-word. Bring a bucket and a mop for this wet ass P-word. Give me everything you've got for this wet ass P-word. Beat it up, N-word, catch a charge. Extra large and extra hard. Put this P-word right in your face. Swipe your nose like a credit card. Hop on top, I wanna ride. I do a kegel while it's inside. Spit in my mouth, look in my eyes. This P-word is wet, come take a dive. And continue along these lines. And it gets significantly more vulgar. Like, a lot more vulgar.
Yeah, everybody, let's go. It's another BeWyrd broadcast. Hell yeah. How's it going? It's Saturday, everybody. Freedom. Oh my God, freedom. I got me some vacation. Holy cow. Oh my God, party time. It's gonna be a good stream, everybody. So glad you're here. We're gonna cover some crazy news that's popping off. The news do be weird, and we're gonna be here for it. How you doing? I hope you caffeinated. Hope you pumped up for some good content. You know, we culture jam in here. We're gonna figure out what the heck is happening in the world, so we can just, you know, so we can vibe. You gotta figure out what your vibe is. And I don't know, I'm still vibing off this song. I can't tell you what. But yeah, we got a good stream today. It is a beautiful day here in Montreal. Bright blue sky. I'm going to the end of Jazz Fest tonight. There's going to be an incredible concert by The Roots. So excited for that. So maybe after, at the end of like all the news, we do some gaming, just listen to The Roots, just slam as much of that music into our brains as possible. And like, I don't know, play some fun game or whatever. But yeah, how you doing? How you doing, everybody? Oh yeah, I wanted to say, thanks to the new follow. We got a new follow. Yeah, Bootlesser. Good stuff. All right. Okay, so, so we got some good content coming up. Sri Lanka is... Yo, stuff is happening in Sri Lanka. There's a massive economic crisis. I only found out about this like a week ago. I meant to cover it. I thought it was way bigger news, but I haven't seen much about it. And now it's big news because protesters have stormed the president's residence. The president's residence has been stormed. That's a tongue twister. So yeah, that's the big story for me. We blasting off. If you on Twitter, of course, follow and tweet and all that jazz, help grow the stream. Oh my God, I'm learning how to talk myself up. Okay, so we're covering Sri Lanka. Canada was shut down. Like, Canada was shut down by ROGERS, guys. Like, we know that telecom industries has had Canada over the barrel for like decades now, but it's actually a problem. Okay, everybody, it's actually our economy is failing because of a phone company. Like, what's going on? So we're gonna find out more about that. And Elon Musk ends the Twitter deal, as everybody knew he would. But from what I understand, he's like a I don't know, a fly caught in the web. There's like 4 different ways he's screwed because of documents he signed. So should be good. Should be fun to watch a billionaire get his comeuppance. You're here for it. I'm here for it. It's gonna be a good stream. We got appropriately comical music. And yeah, what else? What else is in the news? Yeah, I guess I'm just super excited about the concert tonight. Going to see The Roots. It's gonna be a lot of fun. There was this post I came across of like some Canadian who was like, yo, Montreal's so much better than Toronto. I'm so disappointed my dad decided to choose to live and work in Toronto instead of Montreal. And I was forced to grow up here. Because I went to a show at the Jazz Fest. And, you know, like, the Montrealers demanded so hard for an encore. We're so passionate and enthusiastic that the musician, this Japanese trumpeter I was really interested in, he came back and like had to play old material because he just wasn't prepared for that. And the Canadian was sort of contrasting that with Toronto, being like, yeah, that doesn't happen in Toronto. The show's over, people pack up, go home, try to beat the traffic. It's like, yeah, come on Canada, or come on Montreal, let's go. So I'm super pumped. It's gonna be a great vibe. I'm not gonna live stream it because there's just gonna be too many people. It's gonna be dark. It's gonna be an awful live stream experience. Plus the whole gimbal situation. Apparently you can't do gimbals with Android unless someone knows more than I do. All right, well that's all the fan service, I guess. News. I guess we're getting into it, everybody. All right, but we're getting into the news. News do be weird. Let's focus on Canada's failing infrastructure. That's always fun, right? We got clown music. Some good clown music, let me tell you. Holy cow. All right, all right, all right, all right. So yeah, check this. Rogers is like what, one of 3 phone companies? Like Rogers, help me with this. TELUS, and then I'm forgetting the really obvious one. Oh, it's gonna bother me so hard. I should know this off the top of my head. 3 telecom companies, Canada. Like the big 3. Bell, duh, Bell. Rogers, Bell, and TELUS. Oh my God, they got us over the barrel. And so, when one of them goes down, just huge swaths of our economy just don't exist anymore. They just fail. Hey, you guys remember this thing called cash? Le comptant? Huh? Remember when you needed to use dollar bills? Man, there are so many rap references to cash that are just going to become irrelevant in the future because it's all digital cards. Like, you don't really like make it rain because you make it rain with credit cards. Like, yeah. You didn't have to be a Rogers customer to feel the sense of dread. Oh boy, this article's going so hard already. The importance of our telecom companies. You didn't have to be a Rogers customer to feel the sense of dread when waking up to the news of a widespread wireless and internet outage Friday morning. The day, for millions of Canadians, was already off to a bad start. At a Starbucks in Toronto. At a Starbucks in Toronto. There is no quick tap of a debit card to get your caffeine fix on the run. Read this as like a horror script. As the disruption affected online payment systems across the country. Commuters in Vancouver were advised they may not be able to pay transit fares with debit cards. Cafes and libraries still offering Wi-Fi became makeshift offices. Any convenience to working from home became an inconvenience for those relying on the telecom giant's services. It's the second major Rogers disruption in about 14 months. Wow. They have 11 million subscribers. Today we let you down. Yikes. The Canadian economy and everyday life is tethered to our communication networks, and when they go down, like Rogers did, there is no universal plan B to keep widely used and vital services online. The repercussions are serious. Yeah, I mean, geez, maybe we shouldn't have... Maybe we shouldn't give over our economy to just a few companies. It's probably a bad idea. It's probably a bad idea. Look at literally almost nothing. Yo, this chart. Oh my goodness. That's not good. That's not good. So 500,000 merchants use indirect debit payments, which rely on Rogers. Government services impacted. Niagara Health Authority had to cancel radiation therapy appointments. Nice. Some cities have warned Rogers customers they may have trouble contacting 911. Even 911? Wait, I thought 911 is like special. Like that never goes down. Isn't that like supposed to be on like a different line or something? It's like it's an emergency line. Isn't that how that's supposed to work? I don't know, you guys. I don't know, everybody. Seems kind of like a bad thing. All right. We have been remarkably fragile because of the rapid pace of innovation. Stop. And the rapid pace of implementation of new techniques and new forms of technology. This man is literally saying the times do be moving too fast for us. We have become fragile. That's not good. Quote, we're talking about moving into the metaverse? We're still in the Dinoverse, unfortunately, and this is pretty bad for Canada business-wise. Wow. I wonder, golly gee, what could the problem be? Oh God. All right. This is a minor. I'm hoping it's a minor story. Canadians just recognize oligarchies are bad. Let's break these companies up. They're like already forced to sell their services downstream to other companies. Why not just like, why don't you antitrust them? Just like break them up like Lego. What was affected by the Rogers outage? Pretty much everything. From banks to hospitals, offices to private residences, courts to pharmacies, millions were affected. There is no time given for when services will be unilaterally restored, although on Friday around 8:30 p.m. there were scattered reports of restored service across the country. A number of industries affected. This meant stores across the countries were unable to process debit. Service Canada, too, which processes passport applications, experienced technical difficulties. Here are some of the major impacts. At around 6:30 a.m., the Toronto Police Service tweeted that city residents using ROGERS services might have difficulty calling 911. Interact reported at approximately 9:30 a.m. that its services were affected. Debit is currently unavailable online and at checkout. Millions of ROGERS home internet customers flocked to Starbucks for free Wi-Fi. Oh God! Oh no! Oh, that's the oh, here it is, everybody. Here it is. Private company. The corporations are creating their burbs. The enclaves. You know, we're safe from our failing public services at Starbucks, where we could get our soy lattes. Oh hell yeah! Oh yes, this is good. This is good news. Some court proceedings were canceled due to the outage. Oh, I don't care about that. ArriveCAN, the system which processes mandatory information for incoming travelers, was affected by the outage. Canada Border Services Agency said that for the duration of the outage, travelers affected will have to submit their information using a different form. A number of hospitals were affected. Sick kids issued a code gray system failure due to the network outage. But a representative for the hospital sent an email that the hospital remained open and clinical systems were not affected. Okay, so Canada, it's like a little shot to our kidney, a little kidney shot to Canada. Just like oh, that shouldn't be happening in our society. We probably, I think we shouldn't. Oh, we probably shouldn't let that happen again. We can't keep getting our kidneys get hit. All right, last piece on this. Canada's largest. Any new information? Is this BBC? Yeah. No. If the call connects, please stay on the call as long as possible. This is people trying to get through emergency services. Police in Ottawa tweeted, if your call fails, please try again or call from a landline or cell phone with another provider. Yo. Dang, no ETA for when it's fixed. I guess it's still coming back online. What a crazy story. Man, what the, like, can we get some charts on this shit? Like, what is, like, I guess, what am I looking for here? I want to see how much of our economy, yeah, something like this. Oh God, no, this is propaganda. I already feel it. I can already feel it. Yeah, this is propaganda, everybody. Shield your hearts. Yeah, jobs, companies, workers, money. Yeah, okay. That's not what I want. This is just how much they're making in dividends. Yo, like, okay, screw it. I'll do some research after about how much of our economy is owned by these three companies. It's brutal. But let's get on to shit posting with Elon Musk. We still got a bit more clown music to listen to. Or maybe I could switch to some Nintendo. Here we go. That's better. Elon Musk notifies Twitter he is terminating deal. The billionaire wants to end his his $44 billion deal. My guy has spent $1 billion. Make it stop. Musk's lawyer claimed Twitter failed to comply with its obligations in the merger agreement. There's a write-up I came across that we're going to check out that kind of explains why this is bullshit. Why basically Musk is very much on the hook 4 ways through to Sunday. So that should be interesting. Okay, so Twitter's board chair, Brett Taylor, said the company is still committed to closing the deal at the agreed upon price and plans to pursue legal action to enforce the agreement. Fun. This is fun. The news nowadays is just like, what are rich people doing? How are their institutions that they've created failing us? How is the stock market, i.e. their feelings? That's just like the news nowadays. Billionaire Elon Musk wants to end his $44 billion deal to buy Twitter, according to a letter sent by a lawyer on his behalf to the company's chief legal officer Friday. But Twitter's board chair Brett Taylor said the company is still committed to closing the deal. We must close this deal by the end of the quarter. The Twitter board is committed to closing the transaction on the price and terms agreed upon with Mr. Musk and plans to pursue legal action. That's so awesome. That's so much fun. We are confident we will prevail in the Delaware Court of Chancery. It's called Chancery. That's awesome. So yeah, it looks like they're going to enforce. And Chad Loader with, Chad Loader with the quick reply. So this is fun. Twitter shares were down about 6% after hours. Let's see how rich people are feeling about Twitter. Ah, rich people aren't feeling so hot about Twitter anymore. Oh no, everybody. Oh, that's a lot of frowny faces. Yeah, let's see here. What's a look over 6 months? Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Uh-oh. Oh god, no. Oh no. Oh no. Rich people aren't feeling too happy about Twitter. It doesn't seem like it. I think they're feeling pretty unhappy about Twitter. In the letter disclosed in an SEC filing, Skadden Arp's attorney, Mike Ringler, said that, quote, Twitter has not complied with its contractual obligations. Ringler claimed that Twitter did not provide Musk with relevant business information he requested. As Ringler said the contract would require, Musk has previously said he wanted to assess Twitter's claims that about 5% of its monetizable daily active users, you know, the MDAOs, the MDAOs, are spam accounts. You know, how much of Twitter is secretly bots? Quote, Twitter has failed or refused to provide this information, Ringler claimed. Sometimes Twitter has ignored Mr. Musk's requests. Sometimes it has rejected them for reasons that appear to be unjustified. And sometimes it has claimed to comply while giving Mr. Musk incomplete or unusable information. Awesome. This is so much fun. So somebody's been listening to Opening Arguments. And if you don't know who Opening Arguments are, it's like this really good podcast. The lawyer and a comedian who sort of cover the news, but from like a very law-oriented angle. And somebody basically just did a write-up of what they've been talking about. So let's see that. Here it is. Okay. I remember coming across this like as we were following this story like months ago, but here we go. So Flatline 2962 is a Reddit comment, everybody, okay? Let's eyes wide open here. Okay, quote. Well, the agreement was so terrible that anyone serious was like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. I mean, Musk isn't out of the woods yet, and I think he means like that the termination of the deal. Yeah, is like you're not gonna terminate this deal. Like he is the foot. Elon Musk is a fish that's been hooked. Man, that metaphor is hard to get out. The agreement is a purchase agreement. Basically, sight unseen as is. That's the key line. Like, he's like, I want to buy this for this money. And they're like, okay, you're taking it just as it is? You don't want to look under the hood or anything? Or do any due diligence? You don't want to, like, kind of make sure that... And he's like, no. He waives due diligence and waived explicitly anything other, like, mass fraud on the part of Twitter on the financials. So, like, unless they were seriously defrauding investors, which is unlikely, he has to buy this. He already signed the documents. He's told the Security and Exchange Commission, the SEC, a different story than his public followers. Specifically, not the bots being a problem, but that Twitter wasn't providing the bot information in a timely manner, which still doesn't get him off the hook because he waived that right explicitly in the purchase agreement. It fucks him up more because there's an anti-shitposting clause in the agreement, where if he says anything negative about Twitter and tanks its stock, he's on the hook for the penalty. So telling people he's quitting because there's too many bots can financially impact Twitter, especially considering that he filed with the SEC, that his hesitancy was due to something else entirely different, putting him on the hook. He's on the hook like 4 different ways for the penalty. It'll be litigated for years, but this is going to be an epic dumpster fire. So yeah, and if you want to know more, check out opening argument. It is appropriately long. All of their episodes are appropriately long. God, man, lawyers are man, they love to, they love the intricacies. But essentially, Elon's kind of screwed, you guys. It's not gonna go too well for him. I'm not really sure how he's gonna wriggle his way out of it. He is a billionaire, so merely his feelings about the company affects its price. I'm sure that's fine. But anyways, his lawyer is gonna still have to do the work of pretending like there's a problem. So Ringler, the lawyer, also charged the lawyer that Twitter breached the merger agreement because it allegedly contains materially inaccurate representation. So I think that's like them trying to be like, yo, but there was fraud. See, bots. That's the spam bots make it fraud, which is not gonna fly. There's no way. This accusation is based on Musk's own preliminary review of spam accounts on Twitter's platform. Twitter has said it's not possible to calculate spam accounts from solely public information, and that a team of experts conducts a review to reach the 5% figure. So, yeah, oh yeah, here we go. Quote, despite public speculation on this point, Mr. Musk did not waive his right to review Twitter's data and information simply because he chose not to seek this data and information before entering into the merger agreement. Oh boy, oh, this should be fun. This should be really fun. We're gonna watch like extremely, like millionaire lawyers do anything and everything they can to sort of save him some money. Oh my god. Okay, so I think that's it. I think that's it for the Musk news. We're gonna get into something a bit more serious. Like Sri Lanka's really going through some stuff. So yeah, we're gonna take a look at that. It's kind of our main segment, and then I've got a bunch of other random news that's popped off that's like top of the list, and then yeah, maybe some roots in gaming. That could be fun. So let's take a closer look. I'm gonna kill the music. Okay, I realize with practice that the clown music does belong with clown stories. When the stories start to go a bit serious, like when we covered Roe v. Wade, like I don't know. I probably shouldn't be playing Nintendo and Wii music while I'm watching like an entire country collapse. So in Sri Lanka, citizens have captured the presidency palace. There's no sound for this. But yeah, look at that, everybody. It's not good. And it really looks like there's like a cordon there, like like a police line maybe, and it just absolutely got routed. There's just too many people. Look how many people there are. So yeah, that's not a good sign, everybody. That's a really bad sign. So why is this happening? All right, let's try to find out as much information as we can. Let's try to figure this out. I have a couple video clips. I have a really interesting write-up I came across a little while back. I was going to make a Sri Lanka segment like a week ago, but it was kind of like it's traveling and school and stuff. But it looks like it was going to become a story all on its own. So let's start with some Al Jazeera.
We start there with breaking news from Sri Lanka, where protesters...
Let me just fix the audio real quick.
in the capital Colombo have stormed the official residence of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, demanding his resignation. Demonstrators from around the country have converged on the capital. They're protesting against the months-long economic crisis and widespread shortages. And they've called today Saturday D-Day, saying it's the day that the president and his government will have to go. Al Jazeera's Manel Fernandez is at those protests in front of the president's home in Colombo. She's on the line now. Manel, what's happening? Hello, Manel. No, I'm afraid we have lost Manel Fernandez. We'll try to re-establish contact with her and get on.
Oh my God, already off to a bad start.
Shortly. In the meantime, let's speak to Chayu.
Do you think that Rogers is down in Sri Lanka too? Okay,
Singer, who's an economist at Frontier Research. He joins us now live from Colombo. What do you make of these extraordinary scenes as people literally break into the president's official residence?
It's very it's definitely very strange news scenes for Sri Lanka, and a lot of Sri Lankans are sharing a view of hope at these scenes, because for the last few months there's been a complete crisis of confidence in the country's economy, because the way it's been handled and what's brought us here, and with the leadership that has essentially been refusing to move away from that thing and away from that leadership. So that has led to this huge issue. So there is now some sort of hope along a lot of people that change can really happen, and once that change happens, once the heads at the helm of this really do change, there is some sense that policy change, policy reform can actually be implemented now and can actually be accepted by the people, that the pain that they're going through will be worth it for the reforms and the changes that will be coming in the future.
The protesters have dubbed today D-Day, the day that the president and the government have to go.
D-Day.
Do you think that's going to happen anytime soon?
Like Sri Lanka wasn't in the World War, were they?
Last time that the government, or rather the people, really protested, there was a big change. The prime minister left. The time before that, on the 31st of March, when again there was a huge upswelling of people's organic protest, a big change in governance, a big change in the people, actually the ministers, some of the key economic technocrats who left. So there have been changes in the past. So I personally do feel that it is looking increasingly likely that the president will have to take some sort of steps away. Now you're seeing MPs from the president's own party calling for him to step down now. We're seeing the prime minister calling for some sort of new arrangement, and it seems likely that there is some change happening. You can't really ignore the people's voice when it's as loud as this, when it's as united as this. So I do think
they stormed his home. Like, you're a president? Okay, knock knock, hello over here.
Is change coming, and it's up to us to hope and make sure that change will really do lead to an actual change in the policies, an actual change in reform.
How much of the blame for Sri Lanka's current economic woes do the president and his family bear here?
So Sri Lanka's economy was always quite fragile. We had issues with our budget deficits, we had issues with our current accounts for a while, but it's when the president, and part of those issues were exacerbated by policy decisions taken over the last 15-20 years by the president's family, primarily his brother when he was in as president, that is Mahinda Rajapaksa. But over the last few years, as this government came in and this president came in, plenty of policy actions were taken that significantly worsened the underlying economic fragility of the country and really barreled the country down to where we are right now. That includes massive tax cuts when the country was already having low tax revenue. Talk about printing trillions of rupees into the economy.
Oh my God.
Tax revenue was low. You're talking about lots of these white elephant projects that didn't really add a lot to the economic potential of the country. So you had a lot.
White elephant projects, cutting taxes, and also pumping a bunch of money into the system. What are they trying to do? Like, that's like economic terrorism. Like, what the heck? That's crazy.
So I do think there is a significant part of the blame does go to the president and his family. Not all of it, of course. The country's underlying economic structural adjustments come from before them, but they definitely have a place in continuing that, perpetuating that, and also more recently making those problems significantly worse.
Earlier today, police fired tear gas at the protesters outside the president's home, but these protests have been largely violent-free, at least today.
The way he said that, they've been largely violent-free. Like, they've been mostly peaceful. Oh, this is a really violent free protest. What a phrase.
Well, the protests have, since the 31st of March, when this protest movement was really swelled up, there were protests before that as well, have been almost entirely non-violent. There have been only one key instance where that changed, and that was on May 8th, when supporters of the prime minister, essentially government-backed groups, attacked those peaceful protesters, and there was quite a lot of pushback. So outside of that day and a lot of violence that did pop up that day, the protests in Sri Lanka have consistently, continuously been very peaceful. So I think it comes from the fact that these are very much pure run-of-the-mill everyday Sri Lankans looking at what's happening to the economic situation and saying, I can't deal with this anymore. The people who brought us here have to go. There has to be some sort of change. And it's coming from that rather than any other form of organized or any other form of more violent elements coming in. So I think the more organic, more united nature of the protests do read into the fact that they have continuously, consistently been very non-violent, despite, of course, very heavy-handed response at times from the state.
Good to talk to you. So many thanks for being with us. Chayu Tham Singer there in Colombo. Let's bring in Al Jazeera's Manel Fernandez then, who's on the line from Colombo. She's outside the president's official residence. Manel, what's happening there?
Oh, dang.
People are continuing to stream into the official residence, obviously within the last this swell of people could not be kept behind the barricades. They had vowed to come to Colombo, to sit in, to surround the president's house, and basically make him go. Now, he has been forced to flee that official residence. We're hearing that. We don't know where he has been evacuated to. And in the meantime, we're also hearing that the Prime Minister has now called for a special all-party leaders conference and asked for Parliament to be summoned. Now, where I am, I mean, there are tens of thousands of people milling about. This is where you have the president's residence, the president's house, which the president's official office, which is where for the last 3 months there has been this concerted and long-drawn campaign called Gota Go Home. And right now, the reason you're hearing me down the phone line is because the authorities seem to have jammed the data signal, so we can't actually send out live video. We're only restricted to the phone.
Dang. Dang. Oh man, that hurts the head. Like, think about like that realization that if you want to do some shit, you gotta target the communication services first, because then it won't go viral, then it won't get the attention of the world, there won't be political pressure from outside the country. Like it's such a significant and vital like safety line for protesters for oh my gosh.
But we hear that even some of the protesters are sampling the swimming pool in the president's official residence, and that's the extent to which people have sort of overrun that official residence, an old ancestral property. But people here are just letting into this pent-up emotion where they're absolutely fed up, without food, without gas, without fuel.
Yo, for the people who get into that pool, that was a good day. Swam in the I pissed in the president's pool.
And saying enough is enough. We want our futures back.
Al Jazeera's Manel Fernandez there, reporting live from outside.
So yeah, quite the happening. Okay, so there was another video. This is all video footage, I think. The Guardian. I saw this clip. Might need to mute the audio. Oh, I think it's news. Right? Wow, crazy, eh? Here it is. What a party! They called for President Gotabaya Rajapaksa to resign. Rajapaksa. Following outrage over the government's failure to protect them from economic ruin. And there's a write-up of what that economic ruin looks like. It's pretty devastating. Wow, look how many men there are. Oh my goodness, it's all dudes. It's 100% men. I haven't seen no, there's one female. 2 female, oh my goodness. There's a few, but jeez. It's like all dudes. Okay. That's that's not looking too good. We got a really interesting report that I think we'll get to, and there's also just like some YouTuber who spent a night in bankrupt Sri Lanka, so we might take a look at that, see if it tells us anything about what it's like to be living there. This is the write-up I came across from Prodigy _ S1234 a couple days ago. It's really interesting. TLDR, there's no fuel, the schools are closed, there's no medicine in the hospitals, daily power cuts, no hope. And actually, I think maybe, here, this might make, I don't know if you want to read along, it's probably better just to go like this. Yeah, I'll just read it off like this. Okay. I guess Prodigy is a Sri Lankan. As a Sri Lankan, it feels like we are all doomed. Food prices have gone through, almost tripled since January. Our currency has halved in value. The price of fuel has tripled from 170 LKR. What is the currency of Sri Lanka? It's a rupee. The LK rupee. Sri Lankan rupee. Okay. Our currency has halved in value. The price of fuel has tripled from 170 rupees to 500 rupees, but there's no fuel in fuel stations to provide that either. There are vehicles lined up for kilometers at every fuel station, but we don't even expect a fuel shipment until July 22nd. That's wait, what? That's 2 weeks away. Right now, the streets that were jam-packed at 8 a.m. are empty. I live in Colombo, and our business capital looks like a ghost town. We have 2 to 3 hours of daily power cuts because most of our power comes from fossil fuels, all of which we import. A statement was released by the Electricity Board asking for approval for an 800% increase in pricing a few weeks back. Last year, our government tried to convert the entire country into organic farming by banning fertilizer imports. The food production from agriculture has halved. So without dollars to import, we will run out of food. Oh my goodness. We have run out of medicine because the government doesn't have money to buy it. Last week, our ambulance service, Suwa Seria, I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that, they reported that the fuel shortage and an increased number of cases means that they cannot answer every call. All our schools are closed down. Teachers and students can't get to them. My country is too poor for online classes. I feel so bad for the kids. Their childhood is being robbed, first by COVID, then by this. We used to rely on tourism for income, but the numbers have not recovered since COVID. The few tourists that are in Sri Lanka are stranded because there's no fuel. The crime rate is increasing. Every day I hear about a relative or someone close that experienced a robbery. The sad part is it's not even valuables being stolen. Sometimes it's just groceries. Our biggest incomes are textile and imports. I'm not really sure how imports can be an income. I think they mean exports. Or maybe textile exports. These companies have been granted permission to import fuel on their own, so they should continue running. Here's the write-up. So yeah, pretty wild. So I came across this a few days ago, and I kind of just started looking into it. It's pretty devastating. It's one of those things where it's just such a steep downwards spiral, and it really sounds like it's just another one of those like fat cat, government leaders, technocrats who just like pilfered the country for their own gain. Okay, so I found this, which might give us a better understanding of what it'd be like to live through this. So let's watch.
Thank you so much. Sri Lanka airline.
I spent a night in bankrupt Sri Lanka. Harsh reality.
Never tried it. Excited to see what's up.
I had no idea. He had no idea until the day he flew. Oh my god. Oh no. Oh no.
Economic crisis in Sri Lanka.
There is no fuel, there are no medicines, critical surgeries are being cancelled.
Demonstrations against Sri Lanka's dire economic situation turn violent.
Thank you.
That's what the news
The
is while
government
he's
is even
boarding.
asking airlines to stop refueling in the country to save on fuel.
Does this plane have fuel?
架飛機會唔會爆裂啊？我咪已經見到架飛機爆裂嘅痕跡。
We saw some cracks. That's just plastic.
You want a glass of champagne?
Water.
A glass of champagne? Bro.
Thank you. First one to get off the plane.
First. The man literally said first.
1 hour.
You're here. You want to go here?
哦。OK， 我咩資料搜集都冇做啊！佢話要我去我間酒店要40分鐘，我酒店都係求其上網睇嘅啫。24 US dollar?
Yeah, 24.
Well,
Man's
cheaper,
complaining about 20 minutes.
Rupee went down so much?
1 US
360.
Whoa, before how much?
Before 180.
Before 180?
Yeah, now
Now 360?
660.
What?
In the time span of
About
2 months.
2 months?
Oh.
Your money go double?
Not double, triple. Yeah,
Triple?
Yeah. Economic crash.
Economic crisis.
That milk powder
Yeah.
earlier 360, still now 1,000 rupees.
We use for the
Oh
cost
my
of living per
goodness.
month normally 30,000 rupees per month.
Yeah.
Now it will be 90,000, but salary is 60,000.
So how
Still stays.
you guys buy food now?
So we
his
eat about
housing-
3 times: breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
we are trying to make
2
it
meals.
2.
Yeah.
Meat two meals only.
Meals.
If you need any transportation, you can contact us. Okay.
And who's driving me?
Come.
It's him. Oh, he's the teller and the. Oh
頭
no.
先仲諗住同佢講價，
Don't
不過而家見呢度啲人生活
Yeah, don't.
水深火熱，
Imagine.
算啦。
This working.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Nice
sir. Have a
car.
nice time.
Bye bye. Where are we going, brother?
We are going moving peak. Government save the electricity. Now it's still
Government
Oh,
saves
nice.
electricity on
Oh,
street
yo.
lamps.
高速公路嘅燈牌。
Oh.
首先我喺機場都要俾美金，佢哋已經唔再接受呢個
They don't
奴
accept
隸，自己嘅國家都唔接受自己嘅貨幣。You have 2 jobs. 通脹物價升3倍，人工冇升，覺得呢個都唔係最慘，最慘就係有好多好似呢位司機佢呢一生人
He's literally talking about the driver in the car in Sri. That's funny.
佢好努力儲錢，儲咗10年錢，但係儲翻嚟嘅積蓄而家感覺上好似變咗廢紙咁，即係呢10年嘅努力去儲錢
That's
變
crazy.
晒廢紙。Every Sri Lankan like cricket.
Yeah.
Biggest sport.
Yeah.
咁因為
He's
國
got
家
like a
經濟
big
唔好啦，咁
camera and light in his face. That's funny.
Yeah.
Okay.
biggest sport.
Yeah.
咁因為國家經濟唔好啦，咁條路度越嚟越多黑色嘅人啦，但係司機見到佢哋都會俾錢。Thanks a lot, bye. Alright， 大家我而家要 check in 有冇嘅酒店啦。咁啊，呢間酒店應該係成個 Sri Lanka Colombo 比較好嘅酒店啦，因為人生路不熟咧，所以就費事住啲太 cheap 嘅酒店啦。呢啲錢
Stranger
都係
in a
冇
strange
慳。
place. He's
We
gonna
have no.
take a nice.
Right now
nice
we don't
hotel.
have hot water to the room.
No hot water.
No hot water.
Dude, don't
今晚要沖凍水涼。
shower tonight. That is.
Guys, this is the hotel without hot water. Anyway, guys, I only have 12
Electricity.
hours left in Sri Lanka, so I want to make the most of it. 12 p.m. now, and I know I probably shouldn't do it,
Wait, I'm
but
confused.
I'm venturing out. I'm
I'm
going to.
curious. Like, he's so excited to do this, but if he's just there and back, like, what was the original reason? I swear, guys, this isn't just to farm content.
Explore the city by night. Let's go. It's quite nerve-wracking because I honestly know nothing about this country. I only know this country makes like tea. That's all I know. 唔係，如果我要去探索呢個城市嘅話，我第一件事要解決係交通。我應該去邊呢？而家？
Ooh.
Thank you. Food and beer. Food and beer. Food. 即係雞同鴨講啊，佢唔知我講乜，我唔知佢講乜。如果佢在外邊啊
He has no idea where he's going. Oh boy. Take me somewhere. Let's go.
Sri Lanka. Karaoke? Yes. Massage? No, no massage, no massage.
Dude, gross.
Just go. 佢想夜媽媽帶我去嗰啲唔正經嘅場所啊。Yeah.
Sounds like you asked.
OK。OK， 大家司機帶咗我嚟一個我都唔知我自己喺邊啊。平時佢哋食宵夜嘅地方，跟住好多人望住我咧，因為佢見到我係遊客，就想問我攞錢。譬如好似後邊個 uncle 咁樣。
Walking around with a giant camera set up. Man, these people think I have money. What's going on here?
佢哋個個都叫呢啲碟頭飯食我啲咩嚟？完全唔知自己做緊咩啊！好混亂啊！而家我。I don't know what to order.
Right, you're gonna have chicken fried rice.
Yeah, sure. No worries.
I'll order.
I don't know what to order.
Dude,
I don't know.
what the fuck is wrong with this guy?
Not so hungry. I just
Oh
want to try
my,
only
oh
one night
my,
here.
oh my, oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. My man goes to a restaurant. Look at his face. He's like, you're not hungry? What are you doing here?
Not so hungry. I just want to try only one night here, so I want to try. What is goto? 兩位靚仔坐埋嚟就幫我嗌埋嘢食添喎。
There you go.
I tell him to go.
No need to come here.
No. 我同佢講話，我頭先個突突司機喺出邊等我，然之後個 local 哥哥同我傾偈嘅時候就話：喂，你快啲叫個突突司機走啊！因為佢一路喺度等你食飯咧，原來佢一路計你錢㗎。
Of course he's gonna charge you for the waiting time. What are you talking about?
My friend, no need. I take long time.
Okay, come.
No, it's okay. No need to wait. Thank you. Sammy, nice to meet you.
Bro, he's hot.
Oh, this is Sri Lanka pasta. 番茄啦，跟住有雞
Wait,
啦
pasta?，
其實好正喎。
Oh,
哇 ，It's like carbonara, spicy carbonara。哇，佢哋幫我嗌埋汽水擺埋我，幫我開埋蓋添啊！哇！ 今日嚟遇到兩位朋友，除咗教我唔好俾突突呃錢之外，仲請我食飯。
Bro! They paid for my meal. He's content farming and being like a tourist. They're just like, yeah, sure, you can take me out for dinner. There's a what now? There's an economic crisis or something?
Yes.
You take me?
Yeah.
Yo, this guy.
You buy me food and you take me home?
Yeah, we
No,
drop
man,
you.
no, man, no.
You wait for him to drop me and then take you?
No,
Oh,
man.
thank you so much.
You gotta pay for fuel. You gotta help these people out. I hope you pay.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Nice to meet you, man.
I hope he does it.
You're making my transit so
How does this
amazing.
end?
I have dropped.
This is the best transit ever.
This guy's beaming so hard.
Guys,
He's not even holding anything. His other hand. Oh my god.
3 hours ago, I did not see this coming.
He's trying to do content.
Oh wow.
Great. This is awesome. This is way better than I
This is very romantic. Romantic. Oh. Woo. Thank you so much.
Please.
Take care. Very nice. You drive safely, hey? Bye. Take care.
He didn't.
Sri Lanka is amazing.
I hope he just got it out and actually dropped the hard on it. Like what? Imagine going to a country and you learn that their salaries. Oh my god.
I had a great night last night. I have 1 hour left in Colombo before I need to go to the airport and take my plane. So
not
I
what
woke
I
up and I
expected.
saw a beach downstairs across my hotel, so I really want to go check it out. Lots of protesting in Sri Lanka. So you can see they put up fences like this across the whole city.
That's a good shot. How'd you get that?
400? It's new price, right? Yeah. 佢哋將所有價錢貼晒 label 紙啦，因為而家通脹，所以佢哋都唔知自己嘅貨幣值幾多錢，所以佢哋就索性直接將個價錢。What do you think of the current Sri Lanka situation?
So actually, it's bad.
Yeah.
Because our political people are doing for their own things.
Yeah.
Right.
So now Sri Lanka is going the deep.
Deep shit.
Yeah. We don't have fuel. We don't have more food. And in hotel, we don't have customer.
So what do you think will happen to Sri Lanka?
I don't have any idea. Sri Lanka going day to day for the deep.
Oh man. Good luck.
My man was tight-fisted the whole way through. He's just like, this guy's trying to scam me, that guy's trying to scam me. They look at me like I've just got money. What is this? Oh yeah, sure, yeah, please buy me a meal. I'm not even hungry. I'm not even hungry, he says.
London.
Flight is not operating in 3 days.
Oh,
What?
boy.
Flight is cancelled today.
Cancel?
Yeah.
Why?
Cancel?
Because we can't go to London.
Why?
Fuel.
Because there's a dispute at the airport, only certain flights can go. So we have cancelled the flight. Because all people are the protesters.
Yeah. Cold shower, man. It's a cold shower, man. I'm so curious. I'm amazed by how friendly Sri Lankan people are. People are super. It's just so depressing to watch my beautiful country. The kindest people go to hell. Go through hell. Go through hell. You are such a bravey. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. This was interesting, I guess. Okay, last piece of content on Sri Lanka, and then we're moving on.
So staying with us, you're watching Beyond World is One. My name is
really good
Mohammed Saleh, and if you're just joining us, there's been complete pandemonium on the streets of Sri Lanka, where the protesters have stormed into the presidential palace.
Yeah, lots of good footage.
And according to reports that have come in, the Sri Lankan president, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, has fled from his presidential palace.
Oh, say that name again.
The Sri Lankan president, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, has fled from his presidential palace. And this is, of course, what is unfolding on the streets of Sri Lanka, and also in terms of what's been happening after the protesters decided to storm inside the presidential secretariat.
Oh yeah, before we get too deep in this, if you've been liking the content, you know, give a like, give us a subscribe on YouTube, follow me on Twitch, tell people about it. I'll be here in the mornings, regular, and should be producing some new content, getting some new art out there, especially as I start recording, doing some more recording. So yeah, I'm on vacation, lots of new stuff coming. All right, back to the stream.
So this is what the scene looks like inside the presidential secretariat after the protesters stormed inside the presidential secretariat that was very heavily, that had a lot of police presence, that was very heavily guarded. But despite of that, thousands of protesters who had surrounded the presidential secretariat forced their way in, and this is what the scene looks like, where hundreds of angry protesters have barged in. They forced the president, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, to flee. And in these videos, the protesters can in fact be seen inside of the bedrooms used in the presidential secretariat.
Bedrooms of the rich and famous.
The protests in Sri Lanka have clearly spiraled out of control. Many protesters who stormed inside the secretariat were even seen enjoying in the swimming pool there. Unprecedented scenes from the presidential secretariat. The president has, of course, fled from the presidential palace.
Everybody pee in the president's pool. That must have been a good day. The first person to jump in that pool, man. Truly revolutionary.
So unprecedented scenes playing out inside of the presidential secretariat. This is, of course, one of the small swimming pools inside of the presidential secretariat that has now been used by the protesters who barged inside the secretariat by driving the security guards out. Now remember, what's been unfolding on the streets of Sri Lanka is in many ways the anger of the people that's being expressed because of the acute shortage, the chronic shortage of food, fuel and other essential supplies. The simple fact is, because of the government's lack of financial management, Sri Lanka has run out of its foreign exchange reserves. Without the dollar, Sri Lanka is unable to purchase any food or any fuel.
It's run out of its foreign exchange reserves. So that means they've run out of money they had in the bank that was not the Sri Lankan rupee. So they ran out of American dollars, in other words. Or whatever else they were using, probably American dollars. Damn.
It has resorted to rationing of food and fuel. Fuel is not sold to everyone. There are restrictions on the amount of food that can also be purchased. And this is what has made the people extremely angry. And these are some unruly scenes from inside of the presidential secretariat after the protesters barged inside, and complete pandemonium and a breakdown of the government's order, where the protesters have now virtually taken over the presidential secretariat and the streets of Sri Lanka.
That's really bad. Holy cow. I mean, good for the people. I hope they get better representation. They kick out some useless politicians. Burning now, Rogers. Yeah, we covered that Kazinkos. Oh my god, what a story. Oh my god. Maybe we shouldn't have oligarchs and... Yikes. It's honestly, though, like, I refer to it as just a kidney shot for Canada. You know, it's bad, but it's not like the worst thing in the world.
This is the situation that is presently unfolding, but it's not something that the government could not have foreseen is what would happen, because remember, Sri Lanka has been witnessing protests for a very long time now, and despite the fact that the government has been trying its best to address the crisis, it simply had not been able to address.
Oh, we just lost his feed for some reason. Yeah, this is pretty impactful footage. Hey, look everybody, more history.
So these are the scenes of the thousands of protesters who had surrounded the presidential secretariat early this morning. You can look at the crowd that had completely surrounded the presidential secretariat. The armed security guards at that time were completely powerless in taking on the thousands of people who were demanding for answers and who were demanding for accountability from their government. The president, of course, fled from the presidential palace, and according to reports that we've got, he's been taken to some place, an undisclosed area, where he's being kept safely by the military. But the people have now taken over the streets in Sri Lanka. These are the scenes from in front of the presidential secretariat in Colombo, and thousands of people are out on the streets. They've taken over the presidential secretariat. Ranil Wickremesinghe, who remember had been brought in just a few days back as the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, has been making some desperate statements. He's convened the cabinet and he's also expected to shortly put out a statement. But what can now be said by the political leaders when people seem to have completely lost faith in the government?
Oh man,
now for several months, the protesters had been demanding that Gotabaya Rajapaksa, the strongman president of Sri Lanka, had to go. The slogan of these protests was Gota, go home. But despite of that, Gotabaya Rajapaksa decided to dig his heels and stay on.
No, he's doubling down.
Now, according to in the manner in which things are unfolding, Gotabaya Rajapaksa is in hiding. He was forced to flee from the presidential palace.
Yo, imagine pissing off like hundreds of thousands of people and being like, no, I can't. I'm not wrong. They're the ones that are wrong. Oh, jeez.
He's presently being kept in an undisclosed location by the army. The protesters have gone completely berserk. There's complete pandemonium on the streets of Sri Lanka, and it's an extremely difficult situation which the authorities there will have to confront with and resolve, because what is going to unfold in the next few hours is something that needs to be seen, because things can clearly spiral way out of control even from here.
I mean, it's already spiraling out of control. The fact that he's not resigning is wild.
And also my colleague Dasani Thalda is on the streets of Colombo. She's been tracking the story very closely for us, and she sent us this update in terms of what's been happening there. Dasani, take over.
Protesters still continue to march towards the presidential secretariat, which is only a few hundred meters away from this specific location, while the sporadic tear gas firing has stopped. 31 individuals have so far sustained injuries at this mass rally, which is set to continue throughout the day today. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe has now requested for the Parliament to immediately convene, with other MPs in Parliament now calling for President Gotabaya Rajapaksa to immediately step down from his position as president. Stay with me on World is One as we bring you the very latest as and when it happens here in Colombo. Reporting for BeWyrd, I am Dasmia Tauda.
All right, so that was my colleague Dasmia Tauda there reporting from the streets of Colombo. As the crowd has now completely gone berserk. And many of these monks who've sided with the people. Remember, the monks, of course, play a pretty important role politically.
The monks play an important role. Let's go. So that footage, this footage right here, that's why we keep seeing it. I think this is much more impactful than maybe I'm reacting like spiritual leaders of a sort, right?
Has now completely gone berserk. And many of these monks who've sided with the people, remember the monks of course play a pretty important role politically in Sri Lanka. They are also out in the streets. They're demanding Gotabaya Rajapaksa to in fact step down. The entire political crisis is sparked because of the economic crisis. The economic crisis has happened because of several factors. Key among them is the complete economic mismanagement by the Rajapaksa brothers.
So just rich people shit again. Oh my god.
Mahinda Rajapaksa, who was the Prime Minister, was driven out on the 9th of May. His home was in fact burned down. And
wait, what? His house was burned down?
Things, it appears, are happening with Gotabaya Rajapaksa as well. The protesters stormed into the presidential palace and Gotabaya Rajapaksa had to flee from the presidential palace.
There is also something to be said about like a monk's garb just is so clearly like non-violent, like it shows your whole body and there's nothing you can like put stuff into it. It's hard to have possessions when you have that clothing on. It doesn't, I don't think they have pockets or anything. So yeah, that's got to be impactful if they're on the scene and they're arguing with police like.
And this is of course an extremely difficult situation that is unfolding in Sri Lanka. And I'm told that my colleague Dasmia Tauda, who's been tracking the developments closely, is live with us. She's joining us over the phone line. Dasmia, these are unprecedented scenes that are being witnessed on the streets of Sri Lanka. The president, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, we're given to understand, has fled from the presidential palace. Do we at this point of time know as to where Gotabaya Rajapaksa is, and is he now, at least now, willing to step down?
How could you not?
Well, yes, as you rightfully pointed out, both the presidential secretariat along with the official residence of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa was infiltrated hours ago, with hundreds, if not even thousands of protesters now entering these premises. However, what is interesting right now is that we are receiving multiple breaking news alerts noting that President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has informed Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe that he is ready to accept any decision that is put forward following an emergency all-party meeting that is scheduled to get underway shortly at 4 p.m. here in Sri Lankan time. Nevertheless, with regard to the mass protests that are currently happening, protesters still continue to come to the main protest site, quite literally in their thousands. And keep in mind, Sri Lanka is currently facing an acute shortage of fuel. And disregarding all of these shortages, these people continue to walk by foot and on foot towards the presidential secretariat. The accurate location of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa is yet to be known because it is confirmed that he is not at his official residence nor at the presidential secretariat. But what is interesting to see is that the next few hours here in Sri Lanka will change the course of politics for sure, given that President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has now clearly mentioned to the Prime Minister that he is ready to accept any decision that is to be put forward by the all-party.
Will the cabinet kick him out?
Nevertheless, it is also worthwhile.
Or is this how he can one hand washes the other?
Sajid Premadasa is currently in hospital or was hospitalized a few hours ago as well. We do not know
Sorry, I missed that.
that is to be put forward by the all-party leaders meeting. Nevertheless, it is also worthwhile to note that the opposition leader, Sadiq Premadasa, is currently in hospital or was hospitalized a few hours ago as well. We do not know why he has fallen ill, and he has now clearly mentioned that his party, which is also the main opposition party of Sri Lanka, the Samagi Janabala Vegya, will not be taking part at this all-party leaders meeting, which is scheduled to take place at 4 p.m. today.
They're boycotting the meeting?
Absolutely, indeed, because that is a big development, because there Gotabaya Rajapaksa is virtually now conceding that he will accept any decision that will be taken at the all-party meeting. Now, the question that a lot of people would, of course, want to ask is, I mean, Ranil Wickremesinghe is, of course, convened for this meeting. He's convened for an urgent meeting of the cabinet, and he said that he would like to address the problems that people in Sri Lanka have been facing. But the fact is, Ranil Wickremesinghe was brought in to address these problems, but nothing has actually been addressed. The chronic crisis in terms of the shortage of fuel, in terms of food, has continued because Sri Lanka has run out of its foreign exchange reserves. And unless something is done on that front, what can the political leaders now announce for the people of Sri Lanka that would in some ways, tone down the anger that the people are experiencing?
I don't know what they could do.
So sorry, given that for months on end, the message has been quite clear from the people of Sri Lanka. Their frustrations only piled up over the months with fuel shortages, power cuts, inflation, and so on. And they, in unison, the entire island is taken to the streets and has come in their thousands with one message, and that is for President Gotabaya Rajapaksa to step down, and that they simply had enough of his government, which has been led by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. So I
By
think
President
it's
Obama.
the major message that the entire nation is eagerly waiting to hear and is waiting to sort of be given out by local news outlets here is that President Gotabaya Rajapaksa will be conceding to the voice of the people. Now, this is what the people are really waiting for, and like I said, this development of the president's intention to sort of agree to any division that is made by the party leaders
So he's conceding.
is what the entire nation is sort of looking for right now.
I hope
and
so.
Obviously the division of the party leaders meeting, which we will receive in another 1.5 to 2 hours, will be absolutely crucial for the governance of Sri Lanka, along with its future
the story's developing all day today.
As well.
Absolutely, indeed. The next task will be very crucial. It's 3:44 p.m. in Sri Lanka right now. In another 15-16 minutes is when that all-party meeting is, of course, expected to convene.
But this is not
Dasani, the question that I want to ask you is, we are looking, as we speak with you, the unruly images of the mob that stormed inside the presidential secretariat and also into the presidential official residence of the president. Now,
it's evening in Sri Lanka right now. It's 7:51, so there's going to be news on this.
Is this a protest that is being led by the opposition, or is this some kind of a leaderless protest? Who is fueling these protests in Sri Lanka? Is it just the people who are out there, or is it the opposition that's also stoking the fires brought about because of the acute shortage of food and fuel?
Absolutely. Now, for the course of the past 2.5 months, there have been multiple protests for days on end. But we have to keep in mind that the main protest site, which began outside the presidential secretariat, is purely a people's protest. And what is happening today, what is unfolding right now here in Colombo since morning, is purely a citizens-led protest where campaigning is just done through social media and even word of mouth.
Wow.
Where we did see in the early hours of the morning people lending out their vehicles, their lorries, their buses, or even instances where trains were bought by people so that all the tickets of the train were bought so people could just, get on that train and come to this exact protest site from the outskirts of Colombo as well. So this protest is largely, it's not entirely been a people's protest, because at the end of the day, it is the common citizen who is voicing their anger and their frustration. And as of right now, we did also certain reports of MPs who tried to join these protests, who are then sent back and even attacked on several occasions. Because the people's frustration is not with the people itself, but rather the 225 electors plus the president for leading this country into this situation right now. So this is purely a people's protest. And like I said, it will be interesting to sort of track and see the mood and the tone of the people in the next few hours, depending on what decision will come our way for the party.
Absolutely, indeed. That is very crucial, you know, in terms of how this protest is being led, who are the people who are behind this protest. But as you mentioned, this appears to be a people's-led protest that is being driven purely by the shortages of food and fuel and other basic essential supplies. But scenes of complete pandemonium that played out earlier this morning. This, of course, is the presidential secretariat. Thousands of people who had surrounded the presidential secretariat earlier this morning. Despite the heavy security presence, they managed to force their way into the presidential secretariat. The president, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, of course, has fled from his official residence, the presidential palace, and his whereabouts are not known. We are given to understand, according to reports that have come in, that he is presently being escorted away by the army and is being kept safe. But the unruly mob that's now taken over the secretariat, this is what the scene looks like, where people have stormed inside of the presidential secretariat, and this is unprecedented in some ways. This is the worst economic crisis that Sri Lanka has been dealing with since its independence, and things are only getting worse. And also there are several videos that are being circulated on social media about Gotabaya Rajapaksa, who's in fact fled from the presidential palace.
Oh!
And this is one of the videos that's now doing the rounds on social media, which allegedly shows the luggage belonging to the president being hurriedly packed into a naval ship, the SLNS Gajabahu. And this is, of course, a video from the Colombo port, whereas the whereabouts of the president at this point of time are still unknown. Bags and big suitcases are being taken into this ship. And according to the latest statement from the Prime Minister's office, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has told Prime Minister Wickremesinghe that he will respect any decision that is taken at the all-party meeting that is expected to convene in another 10-12 minutes from now. And it remains to be seen as to what will be the future of Sri Lanka, because remember, these protests will in a very fundamental way change the manner in which Sri Lanka will be governed over the coming months and perhaps years. But Gotabaya Rajapaksa, the man who had decided to dig his feet in...
We actually do have news. The president has been asked to step down. The president faces internal pressure to resign, and his prime minister says he'll quit. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, whose family has dominated politics in Sri Lanka for much of the past 2 decades, was asked by the country's political leaders to step down on Saturday after months of protests, accusing him of running the island nation's economy into the ground through corruption and mismanagement. The call for Mr. Rajapaksa's departure was confirmed by 2 lawmakers and came after protests entered the president's residence and his office, and thousands more descended on the capital, Colombo, to register their growing fury over his government's inability to address a crippling economic crisis. By the evening, Prime Minister Ranil, I knew I was going to have to pronounce his name, it's so hard, Wickremesinghe, who took office only in May and was also facing demands to resign, said that he would step down, saying he had the, quote, the safety of all citizens in mind. Sri Lanka has run out of foreign exchange reserves for imports of essential items like fuel and medicine, and the United Nations has warned that more than a quarter of Sri Lanka's 21 million people are at risk of food shortages. The economic crisis is a major setback for the island nation that was still grappling with the legacy of a bloody 3-decade civil war. I think that was with the Tamil Tigers, if I remember correctly. That conflict between the government and the Tamil Tiger insurgents who had taken up the cause of discrimination against the ethnic minority Tamils ended in 2009, but many of its underlying causes have remained, with the Rajapaksa family continuing to cater to the majority Buddhist Sinhalese. So seeing Buddhist monks out on the front lines of the protest absolutely is evocative. Huge symbolic moment. At least 42 people have been injured in clashes with security forces in the city, health officials said, after the police used tear gas and water cannons against protesters and fired shots into the air to try to disperse them. Wow, like compare that to like an American protest where people just die. They just don't make it out. Local news media showed footage of protesters breaching parts of the presidential residence as well as the secretariat, a separate building that houses his office. Videos on social media showed protesters jumping to the pool. We saw that. Frying snacks in the presidential kitchen, resting in bedrooms. I hope they had some good snacks. Quote, I came here to send the president home, said Wasanta Kiruwatudua, 50, who had walked 10 miles to join the protest. Now the president must resign. If he wants peace to prevail, he must step down. End quote. The whereabouts of Mr. Rajapaksa was not clear. Protests have been taking place for months, but the demonstration on Saturday appeared to be one of the biggest yet, even though the authorities had imposed an overnight curfew and halted trains in an attempt to stop people from reaching the capital. On Friday, the UN urged the Sri Lankan authorities to show restraint in the policing of assemblies and ensure every necessary effort to prevent violence. The political crisis in Sri Lanka escalated earlier this year as the devastating consequences of the government's mismanagement of the economy started to hit harder than ever, with fuel running out and food running short. As protests intensified in the spring, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa tried to offer incremental compromises. Incrementalism, everybody! Yeah, I guess he's a lib. By forcing some members of his cabinet to resign while shuffling others to new roles. But protesters wanted the whole government to go, and the president was struggling to convince his elder brother and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa to give up his seat. They're ruling as brothers. A protest camp developed along the scenic Galeface, or Gall Face, maybe it's just Gall Face, at the heart of the capital, with protesters insisting that they would not go home until the Rajapaksas left government. Well, at least they knew exactly what they wanted. Pretty clear. The clashes unleashed a wave of violence and vandalism across the country, raising fears that the country could break into outright anarchy. The prime minister fled to a military base in the middle of the night. The president has held firm, hoping he could weather the protests and complete the remaining 2 years of his term. He appointed a new prime minister, Ranil Wickremesinghe, who has tried to raise financial aid from allied countries and work with the IMF to restructure the country's immense foreign debt. IMF springs its head again. But the protests continued. On Saturday, the huge numbers of people descending on the capital, Colombo, were a clear sign that none of Mr. Rajapaksa's moves were buying him much time. The daily reality of people's lives has grown only harsher in recent weeks, with shortages of fuel and essential medicine. Citizens have lined up at gas stations, often in vain. Local news media have reported the deaths of at least 15 people in fuel lines, from heat stroke, of course, and other causes since the beginning of the crisis. Dang. Oh wait, here we go. As Sri Lanka grapples with its worst ever economic crisis, with people waiting hours for fuel and cutting back on food, nowhere is the reckless spending that helped wreck the country more visible than in Hambantota, the Rajapaksa family's home district in the south. This enormous waste, more than $1 billion spent on the port, $250 million on the airport, nearly $200 million on underused roads and bridges, and millions more on the cricket stadium. Made Hambantota a throne to the vanity of a political dynasty that increasingly ran the country as a family business. Now, where have we heard that before? My goodness, my goodness. The frenzy of building on borrowed money with little hope of immediate return on the investment was in essence the payoff for the family's triumphant declaration of victory in 2009 after a 3-decade-long civil war against the Tamil Tigers, an insurgency that had taken up the cause of discrimination against the ethnic Tamil minority. With Mahinda Rajapaksa, the president, then at the peak of his powers, he did what many nationalist strongmen do, erect tributes to himself. My goodness. What a piece of shit. So another strongman leads his country into ruin. And it has to be forced out of office. Wow. Incredible. Okay, so we have some other news lined up. Moving on from the Sri Lankan crisis. Actually, let's skip on that. There's this really cool science story. Apparently some scientists did some quantum entanglement across a huge distance, which kind of hurts my brain. I don't really know how that works. Like, how did they? That's not possible. I don't know what this image is, but Researchers in Germany have demonstrated quantum entanglement of two atoms separated by 33 kilometers of fiber optics. It's a record distance and a breakthrough. Quantum entanglement is the uncanny phenomenon where two particles can become so inextricably linked that examining one can tell you about the state of the other. Stranger still, changing something about one particle will instantly alter its partner, no matter how far apart they are. This leads to the unsettling implication that information is being teleported faster than the speed of light, an idea too much even for Einstein, who famously described it as spooky action at a distance. That was a really clear explanation. Good job, newatlas.com. So yeah, this is bizarre. How did they do? Because my thought with this always was that, okay, it happens in nature, but I bet it's limited by space or something. But nope, apparently not. Apparently not. As long as you've put down the fiber optics and they're locked in position or whatever, apparently quantum entanglement can happen across huge amounts of space. It's really hard to understand. It's really weird. It's really weird. Faster than light? How? Nothing's faster than light. Stop. Okay. So I brought you high, now to bring you low. Human activity is pushing vital species towards extinction. UN warns in call for sustainability. I think there's like a million. Here we go. Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Every day, billions of people depend on wild flora and fauna to obtain food, medicine, and energy, but a new United Nations-backed report says that overexploitation, climate change, pollution, and deforestation are pushing 1 million species toward extinction. The Intergovernmental Science Policy Platform on Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services, or IPBES, IPBES, as you know, said Friday that unless humankind improves the sustainable use of nature, the Earth is on its way to losing 12% of its wild tree species, over 1,000 wild mammal species, and almost 450 species of sharks and rays. Humans use about 50,000 wild species routinely, and 1 out of 5 people of the world's 7.9 billion population depend on these species for food and income. 1 in 3 rely on fuel, wood for cooking, the number even higher in Africa. So not good. Okay, we're in the back half, so there's no real logical connection from one story to the next. There's just the biggest stuff that's popped off on my feed. A pregnant Texas woman driving in like one of those group lanes, she told the police her unborn child counted as a passenger. It's begun. All laws. So now, I hope pregnant women or people who were pregnant, become like a extra privileged class. They get like their own lanes. They get like tax breaks. This is how we're gonna play it. This is how we're gonna play it. Quote, I was driving to pick up my son. I knew I couldn't be a minute late, so I took the HOV lane, Bettany told Lieber. As I exited the HOV, there was a checkpoint at the end of the exit. I slammed on my brakes and I was pulled over by police. Officers asked her if there was any more occupants inside her vehicle. Pregnant with a daughter, Bettany told the officers her unborn child was inside the vehicle with her, according to Lieber. Quote, I pointed to my stomach and said, my baby girl is right here. She is a person, Bettany said. However, the officers were not buying it. Quote, he said, oh no, it's got to be 2 people outside of the body. Oh, suddenly. One of them gave her a citation and told her to challenge it in court to have it thrown out. Wow. Quote, one kind of brushed me off when I mentioned this is a living child, according to everything that's going on with the overturning of Roe v. Wade. Quote, so I don't know why you're not seeing that, I said, Bettany explained. He was like, I don't want to deal with this. Ma'am, it means 2 persons outside of the body. $215. Dang. So yeah, this is the world that conservatives want. Okay, let's watch a pilot be a boss and land a plane on a highway. Come on, you can do it, Reddit. Damn, he doesn't even have a horn or anything. Yeah, Yeah, get faster than everybody else. This is insane. Oh my god. 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 Oh yeah. Let's go. Let's go. Bro. Oh my god. Oh no. Oh no. 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 Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, I cannot believe he stuck that. I cannot believe he stuck that landing. Oh my goodness. His heart must be pumping. That's, man. Big ovaries. What a mad lad. Yeah. Crazy. Can't believe he stuck that. Out of my way, out of my way, out of my way. Oh my goodness. Right here, he's barely controlling. Right here. Oh, so close, so close. Can't keep turning. It's not like his wheels can really do the job. Oh boy. Okay, that's it for that. In other news, following up on the Freedom Convoy, Tamara Lich was denied bail and remained in jail.
Leach, one of the top organizers of the Freedom Convoy that paralyzed Ottawa for weeks back in February, will remain in jail after a justice of the peace says Leach breached a condition of her original release. CTV's senior political correspondent Glenn McGregor is joining me now from outside the courthouse in Ottawa with this breaking news. Glenn, what are we hearing on this?
Yeah, we just heard, Todd, from Tamara Leach's criminal defense lawyer, a guy named Lawrence Greenspan, who came out of the courtroom and said his client, Tamara Leach, is disappointed by this decision. And Mr. Greenspan promised to bring an application immediately, as soon as possible, for a bail review, effectively an appeal of today's decision by a higher court. And what happened in court just about half an hour ago was the Justice of the Peace ruled that Tamara Leach must remain in custody. You follow the bouncing ball. This was actually her fourth bail hearing she's been through since her arrest at the end of the Freedom Convoy back in February. She was initially denied bail. She appealed that decision, was released in March, eventually returned to her home in Medicine Hat, where she was able to live with certain bail conditions. One of those conditions was that she not have contact with about 10 other people who were also involved in the organization of the occupation of Ottawa that paralyzed the city for over 3 weeks. But she was allowed to go attend something called the Freedom Awards, a gala in Toronto put on by an organization that advocates against COVID mandates, and to accept that award. But while she was there, she posed for a photograph with one of the organizers, a fellow named Tom Marazzo.
There it is.
Actually sat at his table,
Propaganda.
according to Ottawa police. And was also seen in a Facebook video maybe speaking to him or whispering something to him in his ear after she gave her acceptance speech. The Justice of the Peace ruling on her bail decision today was not impressed by that, said she was essentially flaunting the conditions, and says she is now, she was free to express her own freedom by breaching those conditions, but of course it comes at its cost. She is now going back to jail. She'll be held indefinitely, or at least until her trial date is set sometime months, possibly months into the future, unless her lawyer can successfully convince a higher court, Todd, that that decision made today should be set aside.
And Glenn, we can see behind you and around you lots of supporters out there for Tamara Leach as well.
Yeah. Tamara Leach was a key figure in this. She was probably the most visible person, and she is kind of a hero to the people who came to Ottawa, and they continue to come out whenever she makes a court appearance. There was a group of several dozens of people, actually both in the courtroom and out here in front of the courthouse. They were expecting a different story. They were expecting her to be released, and they wanted to have kind of a welcome party to greet her when she came out the courtroom doors just over my shoulder. That, of course, didn't happen. Mood turned kind of dark amongst these people. They were chanting. A lot of them were angry. I heard some people actually sobbing in the courthouse gallery when the decision came down. She is that important to this so-called freedom movement because she really was one of the driving forces, back in early January, one of the people who got the movement going, and of course drove with that convoy from Western Canada all the way to Ottawa and was seen on the streets every day and on all the press conferences. So she is kind of a hero of the Freedom Convoy to some people, and a lot of disappointment, Todd, that she is going to stay in jail here in Ottawa.
CTV's Glenn McGregor with the very latest. Tamara Leach, one of the key organizers of the Freedom Convoy, denied bail. Thanks, Glenn.
Yo. Good job, Tamara. Blew up your life for some freedom. You know what else isn't free? The freedom fries in Russia. Segway. Russians flocked to the country's rebranded version of McDonald's, but apparently... Oh, wait, let's see. The Russians replaced Moscow's Mickey D's. Look at this shit. It's literally stick drawings. Oh my god. After they announced earlier in the year that they were stopping operations in Russia amid the ongoing war. I think the story is that they ran out of fries. There's no more potatoes. The chain shut down 850 restaurants in total. I mean, it's packed. Absolutely packed. But yeah, the story is that they pull fries from the menu after running out of potatoes. Tasty, and that's it, is the name of it. Okay then, rustic potatoes might also be unavailable, but dang, yeah, that's usually a bad sign. What else is left? I think one of the last stories to end on is that we won't be heading into some bad weather, everybody. And by bad weather, I mean more infections from COVID. Ottawa Public Health says city's wastewater levels are high and climbing. Ontario officially enters a 7th wave of the COVID pandemic. So, yeah, I guess back to masking up and distances and fist bumps and Christian side hugs and calling up people, making sure they're doing okay, checking in, all that jazz. Yeah. All right, I think this is going to be a bit shorter of a stream. It's a beautiful day. It's my first day of my vacation. I'm going to go hang out and relax and enjoy life. I hope you go enjoy life too and enjoy your stay. Give a like, a follow, or anything to support the stream. That stuff helps. And yeah, thanks for hanging out. I'll see you all later. Bye bye. Au revoir. À la prochaine. See you tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow at like around 9 a.m. Yeah, probably the same time. Okay. Bye.